If you're like me and live in a small place and you just don't want to be carrying around a lot of gear, this video might help you make a good decision. We all love the sound of great big amps, the colorful, beautiful pedals, but sometimes for those two things, you might need cash, maybe in big amounts, and also space to put it in. The following stuff is what worked for me. I'm gonna be talking about the CT Lunchbox. This is a small size amp. It has 200 watts, and you can get it on reverb.com for like around $300. And I'm gonna be talking about also what I use for effects, which is the POD HD500. The POD HD500, you can get it for $225, around that area. Now, before you say, I don't do guitar modeling, that's true, the amp modeling is there, but that's not how I use it. First, this amp, as I said before, is 200 watts, which makes it really, really awesome. And also, it's very straightforward. As you can see right here, it has just few knobs. It just has one channel. So you can see right here the knobs. You have the ambience, which basically emulates the sound of an open or closed back amp, which I usually like it. Kind of like that's like the sweet spot. And then the rest is tone, very straightforward, volume, and also gain. So it's basically really easy to dial in a good tone. It just sounds great. There's a speaker out, and you can actually plug a 412 cab there. So if you need to really crank it up, you can actually use all those 200 watts and put it in some good use for the 412 cab. This, my cables, and my pedal board, everything fits in a backpack, so it's really awesome. So I have my backpack and just my guitar. I really like the sound of this amp, so I don't want anything to color that sound. And usually when you use guitar modeling, it will ruin the sound for your amp if you're using a just conventional guitar amp. The first thing I do, I start a patch from scratch and I just turn off the guitar modeling. So then I just use these foot switches for actual effects. Let's get into the reasons why I like the POD HD500. Reason number one, there's over 100 effects in this POD HD500. There's 19 delays, 23 modulations, compressors, 26 filters, and 12 reverbs. Plus, you can use this expression pedal right here to control other settings on the independent effects that you would place on each foot switch. The second reason why I really like this POD HD500 is because I'm able to save presets. I have played so many times with different guitar players in the past, and every song they have to bend down and start dialing the sound for their next song. To me, that's an annoyance. I just don't want to do that. I want to save all my presets and then with a switch of a button, just go to my next song. Especially if you're doing delay effects and you have different tempos, or you want to play exactly the same delay as you had it recorded and you just want to keep it the same way. You just don't want to rely too much on the top tempo. Whatever reason it might be, you just save it on your preset. So you just go there and the delay is perfectly how you remembered it. Also, when you're using, not all the times you're going to be using the same effects. So if you look at this POD HD500, you can actually assign right here from foot switch 1 to foot switch 8, you can assign different effects to each one of those. Basically, like if you have just a regular pedal board, you have distortion, compressor, I don't know, delay, reverb, whatever you want to put here, you can add those things. And sometimes from song to song, you're not going to be using the same distortion. So you change your bank and you go back to a new set of pedal board. So it's really nice. You can put different delays, whatever you want. The third reason why I really like this pedal board is because I'm able to route several effects to one foot switch. Let's say there's a specific song that I just use a clean guitar sound throughout the whole song. Maybe in the bridge or the chorus, I really use a very processed sound. maybe has 4 or even 5 layers of different effects. And maybe if I'm singing and playing at the same time, I don't want to be switching around with my feet, all those pedals at the same time while I'm trying to sing. So what I do is just have my clean sound, and then if I were to put my distortion, my compressor, my reverb, and my delay here, before I would have to go and switch it all at the same time. But I can actually route those in just one foot switch. So I'm just pressing one, everything gets engaged, and then press it again, everything turns off, goes back to clean. And that can be really, really useful depending on the song or whatever you're doing. You have the versatility of having independent foot switches, or you can route them. So that's a great thing. My fourth reason and why I think it's kind of like an extra, which is great, is the fact that I don't have to deal with any faulty patch cables. I've been in gigs that the other guitar player is like, I don't know what's going on, I have no sound on my rig, and I see that he's plugging and unplugging all the patch cables, trying to figure out which one is the one that is bad. Well, I don't have to deal with that. So I really like that fact. I would love to have regular pedal boards, like with actual analog pedals, and I would like to have a big amp. So I kind of try to make use of what I can get with little money and the little space. And that's kind of like what works for me. It might work for you if you're in kind of like the same situation, that you are living in a small place and you want a big sound coming from a little amp. So you can play it inside your house or you can play it in a gig. You can do both with this thing. It's not a practice amp. So that's why I really, really like this setup, the CT amp with the POD HD500. Now, I'm not sponsored by any of those. I just really, really like how it sounds and how it works for me, the simplicity of it. Now, I'm gonna show you basically a tutorial of how I set up my pedals inside my banks, and also I'm gonna be running it through the CT Lunchbox. Sound is gonna be completely raw. I'm not gonna do any EQ or anything like that. It's gonna be coming straight from the pedal, and if you like it, maybe you should get it. So this is my guitar setup. From the guitar, it goes straight into the pedal board, and from the pedal board, goes straight into the amp that is mic'd. Now let's take a closer look. Here you can see each icon represents a stompbox effect. So where the arrow is, you see the arrow moving? Okay, so the arrow right there is showing the distortion pedal, the screamer, the other screamer with a different gain and drive. Right there, it shows the amp is disabled. Now, if I were to have an amp model there engaged, it would look like that. But I don't want that because it will color the sound. So since I'm going straight into a guitar amp, I'll turn it off like that. That way, the whole thing goes just fine. Each of those represent the foot switch on the pedal board. So foot switch right here, and if you go into the view, you can see how they're positioned: foot switch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So they represent the same here. Let's say you want to have a few of those, like the delay and the reverb, going at the same time when you press a button, and you don't want to press each separate button or foot switch. What do? Press enter, hold it, and then it will tell you to assign a foot switch to it, and you can move the knobs and assign different foot switches, or you can actually press one of the foot switches. So right now I want to assign the reverb to foot switch 8, so I'm going to press foot switch 8, and you can see right here it assigned to foot switch 8. So when we go out of the view and we press view again and press one more time view, now what do you see here? Foot switch 8 shows multi, so it means it has more than one stomp box assigned to it. So that's really good when you're playing a song and you really need a few effects at the same time. You just assign multiple effects to one foot switch. It could be any of those 8. And then you can have also separate foot switches assigned to different things while having one that has many, more than one. So it's really versatile. I think you're really gonna like what you can do with the POD HD500 just as a regular pedal board, using it as a effects pedal board basically, and without the guitar modeling. This is right now clean, as you can see in the, there's nothing engaged. If I were to turn on this, you could see the delay is engaged, the distortion is engaged, but right now I have everything clean. This is how it sounds. This is the amp sound, really. And this is if I were to engage the delay. So in a scenario, you can have either independent, or sometimes in a song, I need for the lead part, I need a compressor and a reverb and or a specific delay that I'm not using for the rest of the sound. So right now here, the multi right there, I had it set up for a compressor to boost it, and also a different kind of reverb, which is an octo reverb. This is how it sounds. And then with just one foot switch, go back to the clean, and I don't have to press so many at the same time, just with the multi feature. So I really hope you found this video useful and maybe helps you make a good decision in the future. So let me know in your comments below, what do you think about this?